Hello, everyone. Welcome to Naturally Brown Woman. I'm Tammy Williams. Today, we're going to talk about art and the impact of art. Now, I want you to take a listen to this story here of a young lady who talks about how art literally helped save her life. Take a listen.
That AP environmental science really, it gets to you. It's a ton of work. So art helps me relax. I was in a dark place. I was failing my classes. I had bad anxiety, bad depression, and I was an awkward ball of angst. And I didn't really know how to deal with that other than drawing it out on paper. But that sometimes, like, it weirded out. Some people are like, oh, that's disturbing. What's up with that? I guess through art, I had an epiphany. And I was like, okay, if I want to keep doing this, I need to get myself together. So I started to seek help for my anxiety and depression and stuff. And I'm dealing with depression fairly well, but like anxiety, I still deal with that time to time. I have really bad panic attacks. Art is like, it's a relief, because like then I can let all that turmoil out. Then I don't have to like have my body just be like, well, it's build up time. It's that time of the day. You know what that means? By helping other people, I feel like taking all of that and putting it on paper, at least to me, it tells people it's okay to feel this way. It's perfectly valid, but it's not okay to not get help.
As you can see from the story, art has made a great impact in her life. And we want to talk more about that. Shandella Andre is with us, and she's from Amario's Art Academy that's located in East Point, Georgia. Shandella, just listening to the young lady's story, and you guys work with young kids there all the time. And talk a little bit about the impact that you've seen on kids' lives with art. You know, we've just heard about Elena's story. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, Elena is she's one of hundreds of the students that we teach. The Art Academy actually speaks to a segment of young people who feel like they don't belong in other places, in other spaces. And when Elena came to us, she was in a space just like that. But coming into the academy is coming into other students who are just like her. Mm-hmm. And we say that we have a type at the academy. It's because our students, they come in really quiet, just kind of looking around kind of nervously. But yet when they get into the class with the rest of the students, it's like you just see that transformation where they're like, I'm home. Like, these are my people. This is how, and this is what my people, you know, they feel accepted amongst each other. And so, like I said, she's the student that we're reaching for.
Yeah. And how that art, you know, going in and drawing and being able to express themselves on paper and with color and finding that, hey, there are other people just like me. I'm not different. And if I am different, that's not so bad, you know? And I know the Art Academy, you guys share a lot about, being different is okay, you know? It's a positive thing. Yeah. So you guys are actually the first comic book and animation school for 3 through 12th grade in this area. Well, in Georgia. Yeah, in Georgia. Yeah. So tell us how you guys got started with Amario's Art Academy.
We actually got started. It's funny. It was actually in a ministry, actually, where Amario would be drawing these really tall boards, 9-foot boards of just different characters, just making some up. And the kids in the church were like just flabbergasted. Every week they wanted to know what he was going to do. I mean, they would come running in and try to see what he was going to do next. And then we began to get a segment of parents who kept saying, you know, will you teach my kid? Will you teach my kid? And we didn't have a space for it at all at that time. And we didn't even have it wasn't even a thought for us to do something like that. But we got it so much, and he began to look for spaces. And that's how we got started.
The children are crying out saying we need some help. Yes. And Amario has a pretty interesting background himself in that he actually worked with, I understand, Marvel.
That's correct. He worked for Marvel as a young person for several years and worked in different parts of the company. And he learned so much then. And one of the important things for him, because he felt like there was a certain, you couldn't get into marble. It's really difficult for you to try to get into some space like that or to be taught in that way. So that's what he began to see and to start really trying to reflect on how he can actually help these kids to be able to draw the marble way or to draw in ways that, as he was a young person also, his teachers would tear up his comic books. He was always drawing comic books and they would tear them up saying, this is not art. And so that was the passion that really fueled us going into this space and saying, we know there's other kids out there who love this art form and they too are being told, this is not real or this is not important.
Wow.
And
yeah. Wow. That's very, I want to put a pin in it right there. So Amario himself is in school, he's drawing, because, art is an expression. So he's expressing himself, he's expressing what's in his mind, he's expressing his thoughts, and he's putting it down on paper. And a teacher comes up and grabs it and literally rips it apart and says, basically, this is not art. This is not art. This is not art. And I can only imagine what that does to a kid's psyche, at that point.
Exactly.
What that could do. And so, and I'm so glad that you guys are there to help kids through that art is just, so much more than a pencil to paper. It is their expression. Explain that a little bit more, because you guys have 3 kids who are artists. So talk about that.
That's phenomenal in of itself. My son, he would take Amario's comics that we still have to this day of him when he did draw those comics, and he would try to copy everything that his dad did. And then our oldest daughter, Aziza, she was natural at it. And so the little ones would try to beat her, especially Pop Amario the third. Would try to beat his sister. And one day he just came running, I'm better than you. It was like a competition between them. And so he began to just pour into them. And it's amazing because they've come through the program and then they're instructors themselves and great teachers themselves.
Mm-hmm. Every child that goes there, every kid, every teen, every young adult that goes there, they learn this particular curriculum, and that is the Marvel way of drawing, the Marvel style of drawing. If I'm saying that correctly.
That's correct.
So describe the curriculum that you guys teach there.
Mario and I believe that there is nothing too difficult for a child. If you pour it into them, they're sponges, so they'll receive it. And so he's skilled them in comics and drawing comics. And comic books, when you look at it, people just look at one aspect of it. But because he worked at Marvel, he knew that there were different aspects of it. There's pencilers, there's inkers, then there's the writers, the designers. These are all different jobs, and these are all different pieces. So our students, they learn every part of creating it. And so by the time, they also learn illustration, it's just so many animation. And so we teach them quite early. And when they get to college, they're ahead of the game. And our alumni, they come back and they tell us, they have the foundations down, and it was so much easier for them in college because they already had it. They already had the basics of what they need to have. And we take pride in that, in teaching them a college curriculum, even though they're kids.
Yeah. And another prime example are your children who went to college, and they were so advanced that they were going to school and asked to teach at the same time.
Exactly. And even their professors today, they call them back. They call them back to say, come teach a class for me. But they have a great skill set, and each one of them, it was important for us to give them that also because they were all homeschooled. And so part of what we had done was to try to make sure, as a homeschooler, you have to find activities for your children. And so they loved art. So it was easier for us. My son, he had basketball, the girls had dance and all of those things, but art is what they truly love. And each and every one of them, they love it. And it's like they have different aspects of it. There's illustration, photography, then the comics, like I said, realism and all those different aspects that they each have.
What advice would you give to a parent to recognize if the child, number one, drawing is kind of you know, a little bit more than the average? How can they
That's
tell
their
that?
thing.
And what would you advise them to do?
Um, what I would advise is not to stunt that growth and not to kind of squash it out. We have a lot of people and parents who think that, the art is not as important. And really, art is in every part and every aspect of our lives. If you see a kid he's always drawing, she's always drawing, and no matter what, that's what they're doing, then feed into that. That is who they are. And so don't shut it down, but actually start finding some tools and start finding some places that that you can go to enhance that, because everybody's not going to be a doctor, everybody's not going to be a lawyer or a scientist. Most of us have, we're artists.
Yeah.
And they're saying that Pablo Picasso, I'm saying Amario says this all the time, is every child is an artist and then they grow up.
Mm.
Simply means that when you become an adult, it's like, people put that down, like, oh no, don't do that. Go find a real job. It's
Yeah.
like this. You look on the highway, every sign that you see, every package that you see,
Yeah.
that's an artist who's created those things. So there's a great medium for it. There's a great space for them. So encourage them, and that's what I would do. I encourage them all.
Yeah. I always say that artistic expression is going to come out one way or another. Either
Exactly.
you allow it to flow, or that artistry on the inside is going to be wrestling and may find some other ways to go that may not be
And won't make them happy.
Won't make them happy. And
won't make them happy.
Yeah. I was like, you put in creativity in a box, and for an artist
Exactly.
in a box, it's like I'd say it's a spiritual death from the inside out, because you can't really express yourself. You can't.
They need to be able to express themselves, whether it's through
Exactly.
dance or music, whatever that is. It's to encourage it.
Yeah. And then you guys with the Mario's Art Academy, you have is there a certain target of children that you initially wanted to reach out to with the program?
Yeah, we actually target children that are in grades 3 through 12. He feels like by the third grade, they're really able to listen. Our classes are 2 hours long, and so you want to be able to have the child's attention where they're really getting the work and not just there, because it is an intensive curriculum.
Yeah.
And so grades 3 through 12 is those students who like we were just talking about, who their parents see that their children, they're drawing all the time, they're doodling, they're sketching, they're in the car, they're driving, they're at school, the teachers talking about their drawing. And so those are the students that, those who already seem to have that passion for art, so that we can go ahead and nurture it.
Yeah. Integrity above skills is you all's motto. What does that mean?
That simply means that what we teach the kids is that it's more important, your character is more important than your craft. And we were seeing a lot when we began, actually, where a lot of students, they look up to these, whether it's the basketball star or a rap star or whatever it was. And what we were seeing is that what was being demonstrated were not good qualities and not good things. And so we wanted the students to be able to kind of really analyze and start looking at what they say, was cool. And once they started to break those things down, they start saying, oh, well, maybe this part is not so cool about this or that. So we wanted them to idolize more things of great character than what they can do, what they can create.
Oh, I actually love that motto, integrity above skills, because you can have the skills, but if you don't have the character to go along with it, you're only going to be able to go so far,
That's right.
I love that thing. And you guys create like a really family environment there. I've heard parents talk about how they love coming there, their children love coming there. And of course, that's, pre-COVID, but just kind of going to the school and just such a family environment. And even I heard one parent talk about just being able to learning how to, for their son to learn to shake hands and, and have that maturity of what it means to be a young man and be respectable. So a lot of things go on there that's beyond the paper and the pencil. I love it.
It really is. We are a family run operation now, of course, because the students have become teachers in the program. But it's like they become our kids. They become my kids. It's like the students who come there, and it's like they never leave. They know they can always come back, and often they do as they graduate and go on and move on to different spaces of their life. They come back because they know it's always home. And we like to teach that with their craft, that they go back into service with it. So a lot of our programming is geared around them giving back service. Like the students will go into the hospitals, create characters, go into the Children's Hospital of Atlanta. We have Comics for Christmas, Brush Out Hunger Week during Thanksgiving, and different spaces where the students can give back. Again, another aspect of giving service and civics back into the community, because these are things that I feel, So our students are definitely, it's a family business where anybody who comes becomes part of the family.
Automatically, you're in.
Automatically.
Now, affiliated with Amario's Art Academy, you guys have some ambassadors, some people who kind of like who may drop in and say hi to the kids or teach a class every now and again. Some very important people who are connected to the Academy. Talk about that.
Yeah, we've had some great ambassadors over the years that have come and poured into our students and really made it real life for our kids at the same time. We've had Say Adams. He lives in New York currently, and he's a visual artist, a graphic designer. He's an author. He was the creative director for Def Jam. We have Paul Jenkins, who's another great local. He's local now, so he's here. He primarily worked with Marvel and now currently runs Meta Studios. And so he is a phenomenal. When you think of any movie that you can think of that's Marvel, Paul has something to do with it. So him coming in and speaking with our kids, and they know the kids know who he is because we study in the class. And so they just look at him with such like little gods to them. You're like, wow, like you're here right in front of us,
Yeah.
So we love to bring people like these guys in before the kids.
Yeah. And I love that these ambassadors, do take the time to come in and share their knowledge and give the students real life, more real life experience, and talk about the journey through of being an artist and the do's and the don'ts. And so that's really great and powerful that they will come back and kind of share their knowledge and share their skills. So guys, that's something for you to look forward to. Yeah. So if you're out there and someone who loves to draw, between grades 3 through 12, that is their thing. I encourage you to check out Amario's Art Academy. So we'll have that at the bottom of the screen, guys. Check that out. What are some of the greatest needs that you guys have at the Academy?
For the Academy, because we are so advanced, the things that we are in need of are things like tablets, Wacom tablets, and the pens and all of the things that go along with the animation. It's always the books, the art books and things like that, the pencils and things like that, because the students, they go through them. And so it's something that if you're able to help us in that area, we appreciate that. Art supplies are really important for us.
Yeah. And you guys are amazing in that I've seen where you've taken kids on field trips. You've gone to the Cartoon Network, and you have a superhero day, you have a Marvel day, you have all these fun activities for the children. So they come there to learn the technique of drawing, but they also learn so much more. I've seen them at galas, yes, and they're like, they're doing artwork for attendees and just all kinds of things for them to experience. So it's not just one dimensional. It has several. It's just 3D. It's several things that the children can learn and do. Parents, sign your children up. Feel free to donate, to provide any resources that you may have. And art makes a difference. So let's definitely let these kids continue to create. Thank you so much for being with us on today. And you guys keep doing what you're doing.